Hello everyone, and welcome back! If you'll notice, you're not looking at a game title screen this time. Instead of just playing a game in this video, we will be creating and then playing the game and then getting rid of all the bugs we will encounter on the way. In this video, I attempted to make a simple Pong game that gets more and more chaotic as the round goes on. I'm not really going to show too much of my code, since almost all of it is trash, but obviously I will be showing you some of the bugs I encountered in my own code. So without further ado, let's get straight to For this first one, I genuinely thought that my level 2 Godot skills would let me code something like a bouncing ball. No. But as you can see here, I was horribly wrong, as the ball's forward velocity proved to be too great for the supposed immovable paddle. And then I realized that once the ball hit the paddle, its forward velocity would actually go down. So I'm not quite sure how it propelled the paddle the way it did, but it found a way. And my genius brain thought that if I were to change the velocity 60 times per second or something like that, it would magically start bouncing off the walls. While testing this new code out, I winded up making a new form of life. And then after that, I made a jerkier form of life. That's when I decided to have a go at making the ball bounce off the walls. The ball did come back, but it hasn't learned how to go up or down, and last I checked, balls don't go through the wall and then come back when you bounce it. And then I realized that the paddles needed to learn how not to go too up and too down. But then I had a big brain moment and turned the players into solid objects, so they couldn't be moved unless told to by the player. But that just eviscerated any sense of velocity that the ball had. It was around this point that I went to a tutorial to fix my entire game, and I managed to get a fine Pong clone to build off of. After that, things went fairly smoothly, although the ride was still quite a bit bumpy. I initially thought that I'd give the players a set amount of time before an upgrade screen appeared before them, and they could choose some upgrades. However, I'm incredibly uncreative and just added 5 upgrades for each player at the end of development. But I'm certainly open to more upgrade ideas, either here in the comments or on my itch.io page, wherever and whatever. The sky is the limit here. So anyway, I created a basic speed and size button to test out on my paddles, and I discovered some interesting bugs. The speed button worked quite well, thanks to my incredible Godot skills and basic understanding of math. But the size button was pulling some pretty silly antics. For whatever reason, the color rectangle of the solid object wasn't growing, but it appeared that something invisible was, and was pushing the player out of the map. And then I pulled this off, when I decided it would be a good idea to add 10 to the paddle scale. However, this is where I got the idea to just increase the player's scale on the y-axis. And that actually worked really well. But then I had to adjust the player's clamp function to the new scale of the player, which would keep the entire paddle on screen. So I created a new variable to put in place of the player height that had a value of 120 and multiplied it by the scale whenever the height button got pressed. And that also worked. Before I fixed that though, I created a little bar at the top of your screen that filled up to indicate when the next upgrade was arriving. Currently, the timer is set to 20 seconds, so you're just gonna have to deal with that for now. Before you guys start rioting in the streets demanding a higher time, I'll try to make a little screen where you can set the time for upgrades and things like that in the future, okay? After that, I created a new upgrade that adjusted the ball's size and made it a bit bigger. Have you ever wanted to experience the joy of a particle accelerator firsthand? Well, this game probably isn't too close, but you can still make something fairly similar, I'm sure. Also, I created the bug prevention collision box that would detect the ball if it got outside the map somehow, and send it back. This did not work in the slightest bit, so I just created the little reset ball button on the upgrade screen. You're welcome, and I wouldn't recommend playing with people that like to cheat. After adding in the unworking bug prevention collision box, I just customized the upgrade buttons a bit, and it was ready to go. However, I remember that there were things that still needed to get added, so after 3 different versions, I think that there's enough there to keep the game from breaking. I'll have a link to the game down in the description, as well as a link to the Pong tutorial I used to make this game. If you guys like this video, I'm glad. I'm considering doing more of these types of videos, so if you want to help me decide, maybe consider leaving a like and subscribing. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.